So I just wanted to do something a bit different, but as we heard from the schools already that we have represented here, what they do and what they're about, we also have another school, Regis Christian School, based in Edinburgh. They couldn't be with us today, but we do have them available, and we have Providence up in Stowaway as well. So they couldn't be here, but they would have liked to, but just the way we planned the dates, it didn't work out for them. But what I just wanted to ask, like, certain questions and just have a quick discussion about Christian schools. So actually there was a question that came up in the Q&A time about why are we focusing so much on Christian education, and when some people actually say we should send the children to state schools and be missionaries. They should be the light in that, in that way. How would you answer that?
Well, absolutely, we should be reaching out to the state schools. It's a great opportunity for Christians to share the truth and share the gospel. However, most of the children at my school aren't equipped for that. Our children aren't necessarily saved, so they're not salt, they're not light. The analogy of you wouldn't send a soldier on day one of boot camp out onto the field. You wouldn't send unequipped, untrained people to fight battle, and that's what going into the state schools is. It's a battle. So our children, I believe, the role of the Christian school is to train up the children to be able to go and fight those battles, to equip them, to give them the resources and the strength that, God willing, if he chooses to save them, they will be able to be that light and that salt, but they're not yet at that stage. As parents, as church members, as people of the community, we really need to make that extra effort to go out into this church, into the schools and the communities and reach out. But that's not for our children. That's not for our untrained soldiers.
Excellent. I like that one. Yes, sure.
Just very briefly, I won't add much to that. There's a negative and a positive. If I'd been asked that question 10 years ago, I would have answered it differently to how I answer it now. That's for sure. Things are rapidly getting worse and worse in the state schools, dreadfully so. But the positive is, I would not be involved in setting up a Christian school if I didn't think it could provide a quality education, full stop. The fact it can provide a quality education underpinned by Christian values makes it even more valuable and important.
I'll just say, just briefly, I was out preaching yesterday in Edinburgh, and we met a young man who is 16 years old. He attends a state school, but he was converted 2 years ago, and he is now equipped to take a stand amongst his peers, but he's 16 years old. Now, we thank God for that. That's a unique occasion, and it was great to meet him when he goes out, even with his church, to be a testimony and to give his testimony and to evangelize. They go out and they preach at the grass market. And that was wonderful to hear. But that's a unique thing. But, our children are young people, as has been said. They need our care and instruction. Don't throw them to the lions.
You know his name? It wasn't Nina.
I don't know, he's in Musselburgh.
Yeah, Nina. Yeah.
It was wonderful to meet him.
Yeah,
He's full of enthusiasm.
He's a
for the Lord.
Manifields. Yeah, he's from Manifields. He was at Manifields, but he's now left.
He didn't say he was at a Christian school.
No, he
so
was. He was. Yeah. I was like this. Yeah. Oh no, you are rice people. So that was great. So I'm actually I help out at Manifields Christian School. And one of the things that came up in the discussions and today is that there's a lack of resources, and the teachers don't have that good experience in Christian schools. And I will say no to that, because I see at Manifields, like, wow, Like our head teacher is like from the Emmanuel Christian School. I started in Newcastle years ago, and then he came and worked in a state school in Scotland, and so much of experience and everything. So that perception also needs to change. How would you answer that when someone says that to you, that we at Christian schools, we lack resources and lack good teachers?
Well, ultimately, we have a God who lacks nothing. So,
Here's your answer, whoever spoke about that.
you know,
Don't put your hand up.
you know, our school has been going for 10 years. As Yannick has said, at the beginning, we didn't have enough money in the bank account to pay our teacher. At the end of the first month, we didn't have enough money to cover his salary. In 10 years, we've never not had enough money in the bank to pay our staff. And we've now got a staff of 16. So, you know, God has provided, he's provided the staff for us, and he's provided the means to pay them as well. Now, our school fund, our fees are very low. They cover maybe 50% of the running costs of the school, so we're relying on donations for the other. But God provides, he gives people the desire to come. And we have people. I mentioned one of the teachers, she's a PhD. She was a departmental head of science in the state secondary. She came to lead our secondary school. The lead for our campus at Kelvin Grove, the new campus that we started a couple of years ago in Kelvin Grove, was a site, the head of one of the Glasgow academy schools. That's one of the 3 big private schools in Glasgow. She was the lead for one of the sites for that. She came out of retirement to come and work for us. Our head teacher, very experienced now, he was the head teacher up at Providence. He's got years of experience and now years of Christian education experience as well. And we've got other, you know, we're very blessed with the staff that we have there. The key thing, John mentioned, enthusiasm. They have an enthusiasm. And some of them have come out, and there's a difference working in a Christian school to what the constraints of the state environment. But we're very blessed with the staff that we have.
I just want to add, though, that on a practical level, Manfield certainly doesn't compare in terms of resources to the state schools. You know, we do have laptops for every pupil, but they're not brand new every year. When I was showing one prospective family around, obviously they were thinking, oh yes, private school. And then they asked, where's your swimming pool? I was like, the playground floods sometimes. You know, so we don't have swimming pools. We don't have brand new purpose-built buildings. But the resources we have, God is resourceful provider. That's one of our projects. It always seems to be the case that when that project comes around every 3 years, we end up with a bit of a crisis at Manfields of maybe we've not quite got enough money in the bank or whatever. And we then have to remember that God is a resourceful provider. So I'm wondering if maybe we should remove that from our curriculum so that we don't need reminded. But no, God is provider, and what our pupils lack in physical resources, in after-school sports, they get in a fantastic education, a great community, and truth about an amazing God.
And yeah, one thing I can say about that is that there is that community, because it's small classes, so you actually have that one-on-one with the kids as well, and I think it really builds such good relationship. Like I'm there just once a week, and I just love being there. And like I get on so well. I actually get shouting from the teachers myself sometimes, but I just love being there, and it's just like it's building those relationships and being able to do these activities and the classes with them is it's different. It's different than when you have 40 kids in a classroom. It does make a difference, and it impacts the child a lot because we see them when they leave, how they impact it afterwards as well. Yeah.
Give you some, let's start with money. When I started as a head teacher of a state school, my budget, which did include paying the staff, was £6 million. Many years later, with inflation, my budget was £4 million. Inflation went up, the amount of money went down. How did we manage? We managed by deciding what do we really need for the benefit of these pupils and what have we been spending money on we don't need. There was also a bit of clever accounting on my part, but it's not just about money. In preparing for our new school starting in January, we are looking at money, we are looking at resources, we are looking at what we need, but resources also include the physical building, but more than that, the resources involve the people and their commitment, their enthusiasm, and their commitment to the children, their commitment to God, their commitment to doing the very best for those children under the will of God. Notice I use the word under. God above, we are under his authority. And that's a big resource, being under God's authority.
Yeah, definitely. So you see, we have these schools available. They are there. You now know what the needs are, funding-wise, resources. Why don't you help? Why don't you support? Why don't you come together in your churches and start something, maybe a club in your church to support Dr. Theo, Melville Knox, Manor Fields, Regis, Providence. They are there. So we together can make that difference, and we can help these schools to flourish and be all God wants it to be. So let's support them, and let's work together for the greater good. Thank you so much.